Exactly. Which you are very credible. I consider you a very credible resource.
I appreciate
Um,
that.
oh man. Yeah, it's been dude, this week's been a shit show. I mean, holy shit, man. Um, I'm just like it's one of those things too where it's been so I think it's been one of those very overwhelming weeks for a lot of people. Um, there's just
Yeah.
there's a lot. But yeah, I went live here. So for those of you who are in the chat, you're always here before we can see you.
No,
Hello?
I'm in. I see it.
Oh, you're always everyone's faster than me, man. I don't know what I'm
What you
doing wrong.
do, Shane, is you take that link, you spread to everybody else, and you just have it already open.
Oh,
That's your live link. So and it just auto refreshes
there
to
we go.
show you go
Yep,
live. I
there
just
we
found that out right now for that one. I know to use that link, but I just found that out that it auto refreshes for you.
Oh, yeah. Alrighty. Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? Alive and well. I'm glad to see it. Welcome, everyone, to a special episode of Firebrands United. I am joined by my good friend and colleague, Nick Paro. Always a pleasure to have you here. Um, and
What's up, brother?
we've got a good episode for you guys today. And I'm glad to have Nick here. He's filling in for Arturo Dominguez, so I'm very grateful for him to pop in here last minute with his background, especially his military background. I think he's going to be a great addition to this conversation. So yeah, just let the people know again, remind them where you're coming from and what you did, and
Yeah.
we'll get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for those who don't know me already, I'm Nick Paro. I run Sick of This Shit Publications and co founder of Banner and Backbone, which is a veteran owned media company that lives here on Substack and YouTube and Twitch. Now, we're spreading. We're that good kind of mind virus. We're making a new manosphere and a new civic space world. For those who don't know, also, I'll give my little bit of background snippet here. My elevator pitch. I was in the Army as I enlisted in the Army in 2013, got out in 2017. I was a Intel person. I did human intel collection, so I learned how to be an interrogator, learned how to ask questions, and be smart about how to get information. It's fairly common skills that a lot of people would be really surprised that they already know how to do. And if you actually apply them and learn them, you can be a good communicator just in general. But I have a rich background in the military in general. My entire family is military, basically on all sides, and multiple branches. I grew up with a dad who was a U.S. history major, who focused on U.S. Revolution and World War II. So I got a lot of knowledge growing up from him. Different books he read, different things he talked about, just the various information he knew. I absorbed it. And yeah, that's who I am. You can find me here on Substack. You can find me on YouTube, and you can, like I said, you can find Banner and Backbone on Twitch also.
Yeah.
So it's good to see you, brother. And everyone should know me too. Is Shane and I work really closely together every Monday for Palin Talk. Who, by the way, I'm going to announce it here. Is we have Melissa Corrigan coming back on Monday for another discussion on flock safety and the U.S. government trying to surveil us and collect our data and tell us that it is constitutional for them to do it without providing any information to the people that is being collected on, which it is not constitutional to do.
Yeah, which
So,
is
hey,
totally in
what's up,
fashion
brother?
with just about everything they do. No,
Absolutely.
zero justification. And that's one of the things too. Like in this discussion, I'm glad to have Nick here because this live stream we're going to talk about Venezuela. And we obviously know that they've declared a again weird circumstantial war on. Nice, got the Eagle Jizz mug out. I like it.
That's what it is. We're talking about Eagle Jizz today.
Yes, it's true. And this weird circumstantial war on terrorists. They're doing the job that the Coast Guard would normally do. This is normally a job the Coast Guard would do. But it's very clear now at this point, based on the information we have, that not only Trump wants a war, Hegseth wants
Yes.
a war, Stephen Miller wants a war. Um, but what I want to talk about today is that this war is not a war that the United States would win. I had someone in the in a traditional sense. The best example that I can provide, and this was given to me yesterday, is Vietnam plus plus. Okay, uh, and
Yeah,
and there's a lot
that
of
would be a
reasons
good
for that.
corollary.
Yeah, yep. And there's a lot of good reasons for that. And I have some maps. I have maps. I also have a list of the assets that the Venezuelan military has access to. And me and Nick, we're going to kind of just tackle what this would really look like. And I'm going to pick Nick's brain on kind
Mhm.
of a couple things. And the first thing I want to kind of go in on is, you know, what would if they really want to go to war, right? What resources would you think we would realistically need to actually effectively just take Caracas alone, the capital of Venezuela? Where do you think, if you're planning this operation, where do you go? Where do you start?
Well, to win a war, there is two things you need. You need food and you need ammunition. Well, there's three things. You need soldiers, you need food, you need ammunition. And that's pretty much it. So you need a supply line and you need personnel. Um, to begin, if we were to think about it, one, I wouldn't do any of this. I would not attack Venezuela. I think it's stupid. Just like you said, I think Vietnam is the best corollary to what is about to happen if we do try and do something like this, because we didn't win in Vietnam. It's also potentially another Iraq, Afghanistan situation where it takes fucking forever to get out of there, because that's what happens when you go into places like this. Is it's guerrilla warfare and it takes fucking forever to get out of there, and nobody ever wins when you do that.
Mhm.
um so hard to see the names on my side because I'm blind as shit.
Yeah, let me
um
zoom in here.
I wonder if they could make the text larger for us with being able to see the map. Let me see
I don't
if
know
I
if
can
that's
full
an
screen it.
improvement.
Hold on, I'm gonna full screen it on my side to see what happens. Okay, yeah, that's an improvement on my side because now I'm looking at it in a bigger map. So you'll see me all looking a little bit in a different direction while I talk on some of this, just so that I can see the map. Um, Shane, could you now zoom out just a little bit for me,
Yeah,
and so we can see more of the ocean?
yeah.
Because I want to actually keep zooming out a little bit, because there's now with Caracas right there, we can see more of the coastline.
Mhm.
Um, is it's the so the advantage for Caracas, unless we were to just bomb the shit out of it, which would kill a bunch of civilians and would be war crimes, like straight out of the gate. But we've also seen that well, we have seen that they are willing to go so far at
Yeah.
this point, but not all the way, because they're not doing it on land yet.
Mhm.
Um, but if I were to look at Caracas, there's two on the northern side of it. There are two rather large forests and mountainous areas. Um, and then on the northeast side is where you start getting into um, that little bit of a gulf.
Yep.
Um, and that avoids the mountains, but you have to go through multiple other areas to get there. There's very little direct route unless you go from behind.
Yep.
And so, to be totally honest, the easiest way into a place like this would be from behind, um, and would come in on the southeast side in that big open area.
Yep.
Shane, do you have a highlighter for the map?
Are you talking
Which you,
about this area?
yeah, right about in a little bit actually west of what you're. So this would be the amphibious point. This would be the easiest, probably amphibious point. Um, that is not Caracas if you wanted to control like a civilian population and say that you just invaded a whole bunch of area and just cut off the capital because that's another thing. But no, I think it's Santa Lucia in the middle. Um,
Oh, La Sabana.
no, still a little bit south of there. Go southeast. It's actually the big open field. Um, sorry, you're going the wrong direction. West. Going stop on Caracas right there. Let's stay right here. So um, now that we can see the topography a little bit better there, I think there's San Lucia to the southeast of Caracas right there,
Mm-hmm.
um, which has an entryway into the city, but it looks mountainous. The
Yep.
advantage for Caracas is it's in a freaking mountain range.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
mountain ranges are really hard and it's really easy for guerrilla warfare. It's really easy for uh, citizens to hide and flee. Um, it's very hard to invade, just
Yep.
like in Vietnam, which is also very mountainous and very subtropical and very easy to get bogged down in. Um, it's well, I don't know what welcome path. Sorry, I'm out of context on what you may have said. It's a war crime, or this is a war crime. They're not they might be, or I
We're
believe they are committing war
discussing.
crimes. Yes, but
Yeah.
we're discussing what like a hypothetical of
Yeah.
if they were to do this, what would it look like? How
Yeah.
would like what would be the obstacles? Why would it be a bad decision? Why would how could it be done?
Yeah.
This is more on the theoretical side, not on the. This is not a true thing that they're doing
Yeah.
right now, but it
And I have
is
a couple
our
things to add
theoretical guess.
that you've pointed out.
Yeah.
One of the things is I have been to South America, okay,
Oh,
and
me
I have
too.
walked, and so
Well,
we've
I've been to Central America anyway.
yeah, well, in Central America the same. We have walked in a rainforest. I can tell you that this green on the map does not do justice to the
No.
environment that our troops would have to move through to actually get to Caracas. This city, now that I'm looking at it on a map, this is a fortress. This is a natural fortress. You have that one road that goes
Mhm.
into Caracas from the amphibious. If you were to do an amphibious assault, and
You
like Nick
can't
said,
really do an amphibious assault on Caracas. There's you can get the coastline, but then you're on the side of a mountain range
right,
and a forest. Like there's really no amphibious assault you can do in Caracas. It would have to be from the disadvantage for Caracas in a modern world is we have guided missile systems and they can overcome mountains and you can bomb the shit out of a city. But that would require the US population to approve of the use of our weapons in that way. The thing that stops the military is one, they have regulations, and Pete Hegseth can blow hard himself all he wants. Like he can blow himself as much as he wants about this. The generals has and admirals and flag officers have to date still said no to bombing and invading another country. Like they said no to shooting missiles over I-5 and it de-escalated to artillery rounds, which is still an escalation and show of force, but it was not missiles over America and over LA because that would have been fucked up, like super fucked up. Um, Americans have the ability to say no to a war as a populace. Like That's the one advantage America has, is we're a civilian force of volunteers. And if enough people just quit, they can't run a war. Like, you literally cannot run a war if you don't have good generals or good admirals or good enlisted soldiers or just good officers.
Yeah.
The thing is, you can't run a successful war with sycophants. The Germans found that out at the end of the war. The Americans would find it out at the beginning of a war, because they want what Germany had at the end. They want sycophants to be the generals. They don't want good soldiers. They don't want good service members. They want sycophants, and sycophants don't run good wars. So
you saw Halsey
realistically,
forced
they
out of
can't run a good
his
war anyway.
position recently, right? They forced
Mm-hmm.
Halsey out of his position as the flag officer of operations in the Caribbean. Why?
Yes.
Because I'm certain that he was saying this is not a good use of our troops. And like Nick said, we're volunteers. If you send troops into this jungle, they will die. There's not only is there the threat of weapons and actual forces, the jungle kills people. Like if you send like a person that is not
Yes.
prepared into a jungle like this, someone will die. Like the environment kills you, not even just
We
the war itself.
yeah,
And
we
there is
also, before you go any further, we have to remember too, a bunch of these people are anti-vaxxers. Just putting that out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
These people are
It's true.
anti-vaxxers. The military does require vaccines until they don't. Until they don't. They require them for now.
Yeah.
Until they don't. Anyway,
Yep.
sorry.
No, you're okay. So, there's a couple things you mentioned. One of them being that we have guided missiles. But the United States, historically, our biggest weapon is air superiority. Our fleet of aircraft carriers allows us to project power all around the world. Something about Venezuela is that they do have a limited, but they do have a certain amount of ground to air missile systems. They have the SA-23, which is a Russian system. They have the Buck 2E, which is a Russian modern ground-to-air missile system, anti-missile system. They also have short-range missile systems as well. We're talking about, and again, I want to point out the topography. It is very difficult to conduct strikes on positions in somewhere like the jungle. You absolutely need to believe that they are going to hide their systems in this environment. They know how to traverse this environment. It is their home. And one of the things Ukraine does really well, to give a example, is that they camouflage a lot of their systems in these forests. So not only that, if you have to get troops onto the beach. These mountains are elevated positions. They will certainly have fixed positions in place. Just getting on the ground onto the beach itself will certainly be costly. Like you're looking at a situation where no one should die for the hubris of this regime. No one should die. And the fact of the matter is that we have a tremendous amount of experience in modern war. However, our war has always taken place traditionally since Vietnam in the Middle East, where there is it's very open traditionally. It is very easy to coordinate with air forces to conduct airstrikes. And something about, South America is it is an environment that is very foreign to our current military leadership. Now, there's a lot of older people, and in theory, they've done the war games, sure. But war is never how it's planned. War will never go according to plan. And just that alone it's very concerning. And so hypothetically, let's say that they are able to strike these positions, even though that our thermal targeting systems and all of these things are not going to work very well with a canopy as thick as the rainforest. The environment itself will work against all of our modern technology that helps us act in terms of a superior force. Because the environment itself is contradictory. Rainforests are generally hot. They're muggy, right? It's going to mess with your ability to target things with our thermal cameras. additionally, I was reading that, guess what? Venezuela has invested in a lot of FPV drone technology.
Yeah.
It's already been proven that a major military force can be deeply undermined by FPV drones.
Yes.
One of our great strengths is armor in our vehicles that are designed to protect personnel. When there's only one road into a city, unless you go all the way around, and mind you, even if we go around, there is no ingress where there is not um, some sort of natural obstacle.
Here,
So,
make this even
it,
more clear is in your layers on the map, um, set it to terrain, and
oh wow,
then
oh
look at
wow,
that. That makes it very much more clear of what the topography actually looks like
yeah, holy
around
shit,
Caracas and in it. It is very mountainous. It is very dug in. It's built on or in a volcanic range and mountain range,
yeah,
and like it would be very, very difficult to get in. So my experience too in Central America area or the southern end of North America, to be really honest, is that's what it actually is. Is I lived in Panama for a little while,
mhm,
for almost 2 months, and so it's dense. Rainforests are dense. They're full of bugs. They're full of things that actively are trying to kill you, like snakes and scorpions and other bugs. And Shane is right. Like the topography itself, the flora and fauna of a rainforest actively protects itself. Like it is an ecosystem on a large, it is a large scale ecosystem that will try and kill you if you actively are there. Um, and so, like, don't people don't be dumb. Like, don't think we could actively be good at winning a war in Caracas. We we do have the advantage in one area is we have things like Apaches and helicopters that are way superior to any other air force or land force. That said, they still have to be maintained. You still have to have competent people who can fly them and maintain them. And if you're getting rid of all the good, competent people who work in the military because they don't align with you politically, you don't have good, competent people to maintain helicopters. They don't fly. And like you said there at the end, I was going to bring that up is drone tech has changed the game. It does mean possibly that less service members would be put directly in harm's way. However, on the flip side is drones can be then used against us very similarly to how they are being used in Russia. And Caracas, and if you look up at the coastline, Katia Lamar, the city just north, it's on no on the coastline just north of Caracas, that area. Um, those two cities right there, like that whole coastline area, if you don't think a military or a country that has historically been known for, yes, drug trafficking through the US, but I mean,
yeah, yeah,
seriously, like if you don't think they have tunnels and built in structures into the mountains already, you're lying to yourself. Those are
yeah.
hard to bust, even with bunker busters, unless they're willing to drop a nuke on a city, basically. Like
And they
they
have
would
to
have to
find
be
them, right?
willing to.
They have to
Yeah, you
find
also
them
have to
first.
know where it is to
Yeah,
hit anything useful. And yeah, it limits coming out of the jungle where they could possibly launch drones from if they did it from the jungle. But we'd have to find them and they know where to go. And they could launch drones from the jungle into the ocean or over the and have water based drones because there are also drone boats. We think of drones just as flying objects, but drones include submarines, boats, like anything that is remote controlled by an operator that can then drive and pilot is a drone.
Yeah, there's a great point you just made that I wanna build on that, because there's a couple things you said that one are super important. And already, if you look at this city, okay, uh, Castilla La Mar, there's an airport here. Okay, so one first thing we're gonna do, all right, realistically, is they're gonna level this. Okay, they're gonna level this city. If they
Mhm.
and they're gonna this would probably be where they stage, because there's really no other option. Like, I
Well,
mean,
so let's not start with the most drastic option. I do not think this administration, even in their push for power, would be
yeah,
willing to level a city right
yeah,
out the gate. I think they would use a more tactical approach because there still are commanders in the
yeah,
service who are smart, and they would take the city. But like you said, they would take but that wouldn't be the only one. They would take any port of entry somewhat nearby
yeah,
to um, to the cities, so that they could take as much as possible.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, Caracas is built into a mountainside, and Venezuela is not a small country.
No, no.
Like, Venezuela's pretty large. Um, we couldn't take Vietnam. We couldn't win in Vietnam.
Yeah, if you look at
And
this map here, it's great because you can see it's almost the size of like Mexico. You could just transport it, and it's pretty much all of mainland Mexico.
go back
If
to
you
the Google map and just zoom out so we can get all the surrounding countries too, because I think that's important to see who's actually around Venezuela and who their allies would be. We would have
Right.
to take the entire Caribbean to do
Yeah.
this.
And
And
it's
I don't
interesting.
and
Look at
the
Venezuela. It's actually
mhm.
probably some of the most mountainous terrain. So this is like, if you're talking about a geographic
Those are
fortress.
the Andes.
Right. They're the fucking Andes, dude. Like, this is a wall, right? They say America's uninvadable, right? Why? Because we have mountain ranges on both sides of our country, which means reaching inland is a logistical nightmare. Also, you have massive spaces to cross that are deserts in our case, usually from the West Coast, that you would have to cross. It's geographic obstacles. If we're going to apply that logic to the United States, you have to apply that logic here. And there is a couple things you said, Nick. One that I really want to emphasize is, let's say that in our hypothetical here, that our operation is successful as hell. Somehow they manage to take this road, they get up the beach, they take Caracas. Then
Yes.
what? All these cartels, even hypothetically, say they get rid of all of the anti-air capability, they take out their artillery, for somehow they take out their tanks, and everything, which they have 9 T-72s, which they will certainly hide in the jungle. They will use to their advantage, use their topography, um, all these things. Say we get them all. You are still looking at a guerrilla war, because these cartels will act as paramilitary forces,
Mhm.
and they already have the infrastructure. It's going to be a situation where, if you have troops stationed at a military base here in Caracas, they will be under constant fire. They will be constantly hounded by mortars, by FPV drones, by all of these things, because Caracas itself is surrounded. They'll be able to siege whoever takes the city right away. And it's going to be like Vietnam plus plus is the best analog I can think of, because it just is like, this is, but arguably there's more mountains. There's like this is just I look at this and I don't see an outcome where, even if we are successful, the death toll and the pain on the American forces that would be in there, it's incalculable for a modern war.
Yeah, and I I don't think we are prepared as as a citizenry. I don't think we're really prepared to start another war.
Mm-mm.
That's one of the biggest things that's going to keep people mad about this is Trump promised, and on the campaign trail, and
Your
JD
words.
Vance promised that they would be the presidents of peace and there would be no new war. Well, they have declared a new armed conflict with Caribbean gangs or Caribbean cartels as though they're a single entity controlled by one government in Venezuela, basically.
Mm-hmm.
The end goal is regime change to that Nobel Prize winner, who is Trump aligned, I
Yeah,
guess, um,
it's
which
crazy.
is really, really sad to see. And if the
Yeah.
Nobel Prize committee knew that, like, fucking shame on you.
Yep.
Um, And if they didn't know that, shame on you too. Like, you should have done your research.
Yep.
It takes 5 minutes to Google people. Like, you should be able to find this shit. You're the Nobel Peace Prize and Nobel Committee. Like, fuck you. Um, anyway, the goal is regime change. So they would want to take the easiest thing to do. They would need to take Caracas and install a new government with this person who is supposedly pro democracy, but like not in the way we want, apparently, in any way. And you'd have to win over the citizenry. So the next step in all of this, and that's really the most important step in all of this, is hearts and minds.
Yeah.
Is the only way to win a war isn't step one. It is step two, which is the uh, extraction plan, your exfiltration, which is how do you win hearts and minds so that you can get what you need done and then leave. They're not going to do that part because that's the hard work. That's the actual like planning. And if we've seen anything from Donald Trump in this administration, is they don't like to plan shit. They just like to do it. Um, so I think the we know they want to. Um, they want to do stupid shit like this. They want to start a war, but it's on the American people to say no. And so here, the second part of that is also what I was talking about at the very beginning, which is um, you have to win hearts and minds, but you have to have boots on the ground and people. Sorry, you have to have boots on the ground and people, but you also have to have a supply line. And the US currently does not have the manufacturing supply line to support a war. We would run out of bullets and ammunition
Yes.
rather quickly. Rather quickly. It takes us years to make a new fighter jet. Years, years. They are obsolete by the time they're off the fucking flight line.
Yep.
That is not war sustainable.
No.
The private sector in this country does have the ability to say no to building things like drones. If they refuse to build the stuff, also, who's going to supply us with the rare earth minerals that we need to build the drones when we don't have the rare earth minerals in this country because they don't exist here in some fashions, and oh, by the way, we have tariffed ourselves into having no international trade, so we have no allies who are willing to give us anything
Yep. No, I mean,
unless we're getting Shahed drones from Russia, and then and
oh
uh,
yeah, they have
Iran.
Shaheds too. I forgot to mention that, but they have Shahed drones as well, which are one of the most like again, like I don't want to cut you off here, but like
No, it's fine.
you're saying like everything you're saying is true, and I think one of the things you said is you need the support of the people, you need the support of the troops. Well, the thing is, the Vietnam War, you saw more officers killed by their own troops than many other major conflicts. Why? Because they're ordering them to go into the jungle where they know they will die. Take that ridge. We're all gonna fucking die, sir. Do it. That's what the brass is saying.
Yeah,
You're
like
gonna be looking at people who know that they're getting their death warrant signed, and that doesn't breed. The troops won't feel supported. They know what a combined arms operation looks like. They know what military doctrine is. And if you bring in an idiot that ignores our doctrine, which keeps our troops safe, it's the
And
use of,
alive.
and alive. It's the use of a combined force that works. It's leaning on our air superiority to keep our troops safe from positions that would be hard to assault, because we have learned from the past that casualties come when you send bodies, human bodies, and you can see it in Russia right now. When you send humans to take a defensible position, a lot of people die. And
Yes.
we've looked at this map. It's just a defensible position. Like, that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. So the key in all of this is one of the things you just said is troops need to feel supported. When you're a service member, if you know back home that you're not supported in any way, that the populace at home thinks what you're doing is atrocious and terrible and not worth supporting, you feel bad doing it. As a service member, you go, why the fuck am I even here? And you don't fight. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Yeah, you're good. I'll kind of just like pick this up really quick while I was doing this. There's something that Nick was saying that I think is also worth adding. And he was talking about how this cartel, they build all of these drug boats. If you think that they can't switch that infrastructure into amphibious kamikaze drones, you're cheating yourself.
Yeah,
They already
that's what
have.
already exists.
Yep, the infrastructure is there. Like, it's one of those things where they are probably one of the best prepared countries to wage a guerrilla war against a occupying force. And it's like, when you're taking these things into consideration, it just shows how like stupid Stephen Miller is and Pete Hegseth is. And like, we know Trump doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. He probably just thinks like Venezuela is like a beach, like,
Well,
but
and sorry, cutting you
no,
off.
go ahead.
Breaking news: the U.S. just struck another Venezuelan boat, killing 2 more.
Oh,
The 8th
lovely. What's that, 7?
U.S. strike. No, this one is the 8th.
Oh,
So reporting, I'm looking at it from the Associated Press on Newsbreak, is dumbass Secretary Pete Hegseth says in a social media post, the U.S. military conducted its 8th strike against an alleged drug vessel. The Tuesday night strike occurred in the Eastern Pacific Ocean. 7 previous target strikes, all targeted vessels in the Caribbean, according to Hegseth. The strike killed 2 people, bringing the death toll from
29, right?
From the strikes to at least 34 people.
Wow.
Yeah. We're continuing extrajudicial killings in the Caribbean while the government is shut down, which means that there is zero congressional oversight that is really happening. This is planned and timed. They're doing it on purpose, which is why I don't care what Congress does right now, because they have abdicated their roles. And until 9 Republicans are willing to stand up and unseat Mike Johnson with the Democrats and become independent after that and truly save America and fucking grow a backbone and stop doing this bullshit that you're doing and abdicating and treasonous actions, come back and stop being a new Confederacy, is 9 Republicans can stop this and get us back into the business by unseating Mike Johnson in help with the Democrats. So leading with that, I don't care what Congress is doing until they do that.
I think they're there. I think they're there. And I think that's why Mike Johnson refuses to swear her in. It's because if Congress reconvenes, if Congress starts to work,
they can do it without Mike Johnson's approval. All they need to do is, it is a privileged motion. It has to be heard. They cannot shut down Congress when this happens. It is a privileged motion to say that they would like to unseat, because he is no longer doing his duties. they can get rid of Mike Johnson. 9. It takes 9 fucking Republicans to do that. Just 9 of them.
Wow.
To do it.
Wow.
They could end this if they chose to. Trump is using the War Powers Act, which gives him, Senator America is putting some good information for people in the chat, so I'll read it. War Powers Act of 1973 allows Trump to deploy troops for 60 days without congressional approval, 48 hours to give Congress notice, then he has another 30 days to get back to them. So he basically has 90 days that he can do a war, as long as at the end of the first 60, he has some sort of congressional approval.
And, we know that the first thing he does, they strike Caracas. Okay. Maduro disappears into the jungle. Okay. He disappears into the jungle. He leaves. He goes into the jungle in some bunker that he certainly has built because he's a fucking dictator. And then what?
He wouldn't even have to stay in Venezuela. He just goes into the Amazon rainforest and you never see him again.
Yeah. Like the Incas did
Venezuela,
it, right?
Borders Brazil. Like if we pull that, if you pull up Google Maps again and we can show people South America again, like I think that's a really important picture, is to remember what the actual, like, let's learn some geography and do some knowledge break, because it's important, is the countries that are there. We have Venezuela, we have Colombia, we have Brazil, all right next to each other. Brazil is where the Amazon rainforest is, the largest rainforest in the world. Oh, look at that. Venezuela is also part of the Amazon rainforest. So is Colombia. So is Guyana, Suriname. All of those countries right there are all part of the Amazon rainforest, and Venezuela and Colombia have the Andes running through them on their northern borders. Like it is, South America is also rather hard to invade compared to North America. They have a lot of similar topography to us. They have deserts. They have rainforests. We have rainforests. We have deserts. Theirs are just tropical. So this would be the dumbest fucking war in history. And the way that we prevent it from escalating further and further until all of the competent generals and admirals and flag officers have retired or quit or gone public, and all of the senior enlisted and senior non-flag officers, if you all start coming out as whistleblowers or saying no, and actually publicly saying no to an order, it is not politicizing yourself to be pro-constitutional and following your oath. It is just following your fucking oath. They don't get to win the argument that, oh, you're politicizing the military by saying no. No, you are politicizing the military by saying yes to a war that should not happen. It is your oath. It is your constitutional duty to stand up as an officer to illegal orders and prevent them from getting to your service members and your soldiers. Do not allow your service members and soldiers to die in a useless war in Venezuela, where we would then get attacked on American soil, and Americans in America in the States would die. That is the result of going into Venezuela. That would be the result. And it would be either manufactured that Americans would die, but Americans in the US would die during a war in Venezuela, because there would be attacks within the US. The US is on top of all of this. Sorry to monologue here for a second. The US got rid of all of our counterintelligence personnel, and they're only focused on the border. We don't have any counterintelligence personnel. The main headquarters for the counterintelligence is run by a 22-year-old with zero fucking experience. We do not have an internal intelligence system. Counterintelligence is adjacent to human intelligence because it is the internal side, and the internal protection, it is counterintelligence on an internal basis. And if we don't have that in place, we don't know what the fuck is going on. And if an attack happens, say let's say what Ukraine did, where they put a bunch of drones into
Operation
trains,
Spiderweb. Yep.
Operation Spiderweb, that would be very feasibly easy to happen in the US
Especially
because
with the
the US does
cartels,
not
they
really
already
have an
have
internal
existing.
defense system.
Yeah, they already have existing like routes and things. Say they just instead of cocaine, they do FPV drones, and then suddenly,
Mhm.
Miramar MCAS is fucking blown up, and we lose half of our fighter jets because it would be that simple if they can get cocaine all the way into San Diego from fucking Venezuela or Colombia. You think they can't get a freaking crate of FPV drones into Venezuela? Like, or into the United States. And it's like, dude, I also think, and I think this is, I think you would agree with me here, but if I'm wrong, correct me. We would have to pull resources from somewhere else in the world to effectively wage a war against Venezuela. We could not maintain our current global projection without changing our position globally.
Well, we already have changed our position globally in a lot of ways. Is we have moved a lot of global assets from the Navy to the Caribbean already.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've already done that first step, which is we've moved a lot of global assets, and um, I think we've weakened ourselves in a lot of ways. But we've also weakened ourselves a lot of ways in a lot of other ways. The soft power weakness that we have done, where we got rid of all of our actual diplomacy and non projected strength, because the US projects strength and then actually showed strength underneath by doing peaceful actions, such as, broadcast networks that were anti-Russia propaganda and actually were pro-US propaganda, but they were still propaganda, but at least it wasn't Russian propaganda. Um, and but it offered more democratic view to the world, and we got rid of all of our diplomatic soft power, because we think hard power is the only power. Like they are convinced that brute force is the only showing of strength that's possible.
Yep. Yep. And that's very true. Like the other thing he did that's really stupid, right? Like they blow up a Colombian fisherman, okay? And then what do? They pull funding to Colombia, which is the direct neighbor of Venezuela, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So Colombia has, guess what? They don't even need to directly support with their military. They can just say to their cartels, "Go over there and help out Venezuela." They have
Well,
paramilitary forces as well.
that's one of the reasons. The only smart thing and I hate using that word, the only competent thing that the administration has done so far in this is they labeled it as Caribbean cartels for the how they view enemy combatants. And I do want to get into this for a second. Is you mentioned Colombia, and that strike, and there were survivors. There
Yeah,
were two survivors from that strike. I'd like to know more information from the military on their statuses. I'd like to know information publicly from the military on what their status and their treatment has been. How
they
have
were
these
deported, I believe.
detainees, oh,
I
I
I
understand they were
okay,
deported,
okay.
or they were repatriated back to,
Yes.
or repatriated back to their country of origin. Um, my question, though, is while we had them in our custody,
Yeah.
what did we do? How
Mhm.
did we handle them? And where are those records? I would like to see those publicly from the military, because detainees have a very specific set of requirements that they have to be treated by both our standards and the Geneva Convention,
Okay.
um, for preventing war crimes. And I understand this administration doesn't give a shit about war crimes, but I do, and
Absolutely.
people who are in the military do. And if you have a security clearance and you are a managing a detainee and you want to start doing 1990s and before level of like how we could handle detainees, which means Abu Ghraib had not happened, and the torture that was done in Iraq with waterboarding had not been revealed. Those would be back on the table, and I'd like to understand if our service members are being asked to do things like that. I
Yeah.
would like to understand if our intelligence collectors are being asked to do illegal intelligence collection operations and illegal techniques that are war crimes. And if they are, and if those service members are doing them, you all better bet that we're going to start putting forward charges against you because accountability can happen in real time. And
Yeah.
I'm tired of thinking we have to wait for accountability. You have to hold these people accountable in real time to stop it. And I hope people take a listen to what I just said and maybe listen back to what I just said about all of this is there's a lot of regulations on how detainees are supposed to be handled. And that's what they would have been, that's what they're classified as because we considered them enemy combatants. So now there's rules. Now there's international law that you have to follow. The dumbest thing they did was call them enemy combatants because now
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of regulations that the service members need to follow. And if they're not following them, we hold them accountable in real time and we hold their chain of command accountable for allowing them to do it in real time. That is how you create illegal orders. That is how you show pushback. That is how you tell people who want to be the fucking war criminal of the century. That's how you tell them to fuck off because you send
Yep.
them to
That's
prison
Stephen
in
Miller,
real
right?
fucking time.
Let's be like really clear too. Like there's people in the White House. It is you have sources inside the White House from Reuters multiple times who are acting on the position of anonymity because they know that they will be retaliated against. But Stephen Miller is dictating every part of this policy. He's the one saying what the president wants. So he tells Pete Hegseth what to do. His idiocy is written all over this because it's stupid. Like Nick has said, like everything they do is stupid. Why would you label them combatants unless you're Stephen Miller and you hate Hispanic people? Yeah, they're enemy combatants. Like he's just dumb, and this whole thing is stupid. It's clearly war
He's
crimes.
not a lawyer.
Eventually the world is going to have no choice but to sanction the US in some capacity, especially if we invade Venezuela. We will be looking at some
Oh,
form of
absolutely.
sanctioning. At this point, the
Which would
world,
wreck the economy even more.
yes,
Would
yep, the world
wreck
right now doesn't want
everything.
to punish the United States because they know with the war in Ukraine, they're in a tough spot. Europe is just not prepared right now to fight Russia. And the world, and this is like Europe's fault.
I
And
actually think Europe is more prepared to fight Russia at this point than we realize. I do think I will give credit where credit is actually due. I think the fact that Trump is strong arming people in NATO to increase their GDP or percentage of
contribution,
GDP
yeah,
towards that they put towards war defense and NATO defense. I don't think that was a bad thing. I do
no,
think Europe should take a more aggressive role in protecting themselves too. That said, I don't want to push ourselves out of NATO, whereas Trump does. Trump is using it as a strong arm bully technique to get NATO to not like him, whereas we could have done this in a way that would have actually gotten NATO to do it, and we would have strengthened it in the process while lowering the need for US GDP support. Like we could have done this in so much better way, but
yeah. And there's a
again,
couple
they're dumb
things.
as fuck and they don't
Yeah,
do
they
things
are.
smart.
There's a couple things I want to add to that because you're right. But there's some caveats because as you know,
Mm-hmm.
I follow this a lot. This is like one of my special interests is the geopolitical side of Ukraine. And while it's true they would be able to defend themselves, it's not that as much as the cost. The cost would be tremendous. And the other thing is while they're spending more, this is another reason he's doing this, is they buy US weapons systems. It makes the United States a lot of money when they're buying new Patriot batteries, they're buying jets. There's a difference between spending X and actually having that weaponry, because they say they buy a bunch of vehicles. Well, they're probably not getting all 300 until 2029, because you mentioned earlier, Nick, that our industrial complex takes years to make these things efficiently and effectively. So
Yeah.
where I think they would be able to a degree, but what they're doing that is smart is that they are working with Ukraine. They are working with Ukraine a lot. They are funding Ukraine because Ukraine is the
Yes.
shield of Europe. And as long as they keep Ukraine, and this is the irony I've been saying, and this is not something that is new. Military experts have been saying this forever. And it just proves that Trump himself is in some way beholden to Putin. Because if the United States fully backed Russia or backed Ukraine, Russia would be destroyed. Ukraine is a blade that could be driven into the heart of the Russian Federation. It could create regime change. It could give the people of Russia a chance at another democracy. But it's because go ahead. Yeah, I was just to say, it's because of the fact that Trump is unwilling to unseat Putin because he admires him, or Putin has a full copy of the Epstein files sitting there ready to release if Trump
Putin has plenty of other blackmail that is based on the Epstein stuff, because it's all the same. Like, it's a propaganda blackmail thing. But I also think too is most people forget historically, from the USSR, from the Russian Empire, the Ukrainian people have always been the military might of that empire.
Yeah.
And they are their own military might because they're creative, they're smart, they're fast, they know how to adapt. And that would be what would happen if we were to try and attack, say, Venezuela. It's the Venezuelans and the Colombians and the Brazilians and all of the Caribbean islands would adapt very quickly. They would know what to expect.
Imperialism, right? Like forever. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the other thing. Ukraine, same thing. They've been victims of imperialism. It's one
they know
thing
how to fight back.
Yes, they will not accept it because they've already culturally been imperialized over and over again. It's like it's one thing to attack someone who has never been, invaded, and they don't know just how horrific it is. It's an entirely different thing to attack people who know what it's like to be oppressed by a foreign power.
Yes. Yeah. And so going back to Ukraine for a second, but also on the drone side of things, if people missed it, is Ken Harbaugh goes over to Ukraine quite often, and he reported on they found U.S. tech chips in Russian drones being used to attack Ukraine, which means there need to be some accountability on U.S. businesses here soon too, and we can start figuring out who those companies are and hold them accountable in real time. Those are sanctioned countries. Yeah, Senator America, my friends, Sheridan Gavin, if you guys just heard this, go find Ken Harbaugh's YouTube channel. It was an interview that he did the other day. I'll see if I can find the link for it too, and send it to you guys, but it should be on his page.
I'll put it in the show
pretty
notes
obviously.
Well. Make sure we add that to
there's U.S. tech being used in Russian drones to attack Ukraine, which means we're already doing the illegal thing of sending tech to a sanctioned country, which means there needs to be an investigation very quickly from our side on how to counter that and sue these fucking countries. And what we should do is figure out a way. I'm going to just drop this for you too, because I want you to think about this, because you're a thinker. And I love that you're a thinker. And I say that with all the love, because I love thinkers. Is figuring out how we can create for lawsuits and for legal action to be able to support accountability in real time, is how do we file on behalf of the American people as a
Yep.
class?
Yep.
Because restitutions also come from this. Is our wealth is being stolen in real time, and accountability can be the American people as a class are going to sue the shit out of you and get money back, and you can just join that lawsuit as part of the American people. And I bet you a couple million people are going to sign up real quick and be
Can
like,
you
I can get
imagine?
money. I can get money back.
Can you imagine if the United States Supreme Court ruled against the American people? Like the American people versus,
Donald
Trump,
Trump.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
they rule against the American people. That's it. That's it. They've betrayed the people, and there's
Because
no
mm-hmm.
explaining that away. And that's one of the things too. I think it's just very, very, there's a lot of things. One of the things is the White House. I think the White House might be that
Oh,
lawsuit. I think that
yeah.
might be one of
On
those
behalf of the
things.
American
It's
people, we
the
have
people's
to.
house. It's our house. It's not his house. It's the people's house. And there's multiple federal laws that have been violated because he did not approach the proper committees that would have had to be consulted before altering
Mm-hmm.
the White House. The
Yep.
argument I'm receiving on the back end from the MAGA bots is that they've already altered the White House. While that may be true, in each of these cases, a committee was consulted, committees that were created to protect the historical value of these
Mm-hmm.
American sites, the heritage of the American people. If you have not already gone and looked, I have posted an article with the phone numbers of the companies that have been contracted by the White House to do this work. We have already filled up the voicemail box of McCreary Architecture. That is the people designing the ballroom. That means that they cannot receive phone calls. They cannot receive business inquiries. That means if they want to find new clients, new contacts, they have to sift through a mountain of phone calls, which we will continue to fill up that mailbox so they cannot continue to receive business. We are flooding their inbox for inquiries with calls for them to cease working on an illegal
Mm-hmm.
building in which they will be subject to prosecution for participating in this project. You can do the same thing with the phone numbers of every single office and the email of Clark Construction, who has been contracted to do this work, to build this illegal ballroom that is destroying American heritage. And they've already destroyed it, right? They've already torn it down.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing we can do, but we can attack the companies. And that's what Nick was saying earlier with
Well,
the
we
chip.
can't. There are things we can do. Is we can force the restoration to return the White House to the previous state. That is a viable option. It is viable to tear the fucking ballroom down, which is being built over a secure site too. So, like, let's not forget that it's being built on a secure site that people would go into in a national security emergency, and that's really dangerous as fuck to have a security basically just people ability to be right over a really secure location. Like, let's not fucking do that, because that's dumb as shit. Anyway, Shane, I have to say I'm so proud to know you and be like friends with you for the work that you did on that. Like, that yesterday, hearing that, and I want to make sure everybody hears it too on the live, is like the work that you, Shane, and the Firebrands did yesterday while doing that, to in the moment call and make it happen. That is exactly what we've been asking for. That is what all of you have been asking. How can I help? How can I do something? You vote with your voice every single day. You vote with your actions every single day. And doing something civically minded, so simple as that, is just fill up a voicemail box like that. You know, that is something you can do. It's free, and it's
It's
going to
free.
move the needle. It's going to move the needle too, because if you hold them accountable in real time, they can't do it and they have to return it. And guess what? If we can win this fight, if we can, as the American people, file a suit and say you're damaging the White House, and we force it returned, and if the Supreme Court rules against the American people, well, there's still a couple options left that the Constitution and our founding fathers basically lay out is what happens to a tyrannical government.
Right.
Um,
That's tyranny, direct tyranny.
the
There's
step
no other
two nobody's talking about yet, sorry to cut you off, is recall elections. Is forcing
Yeah.
recall elections. State Democratic parties, state Republican parties, state parties, by the voice of the people, can be forced into recalling your actively sitting congressional legislators in whatever capacity. That can happen. The
Yeah.
Constitution guarantees the right to vote,
Yes.
guarantees the right to vote.
Yeah.
And the
And
right
there's
to vote means you get to vote the fucking people out who are currently
yeah.
sitting if they have abdicated their role as a people. So citizen petitions, I don't care if they tell you you can't do that. Who gives a fuck? We got all we did done after World War II, all these constitutional amendments that were added after the Civil War, they weren't done the way that the fucking Constitution said they had to be done, if specifically and outlined. They were done because they were right, because they were forced to be done, because the people said, you fucking do it or we will revolt even further.
Yeah.
Like, the Constitution held after the Civil War was ended because the American people demanded that it be done.
Right.
So it's time to stop saying we can't do this and start saying we must be doing this.
There's a couple
Peaceful and
things.
patriotic, though.
Yes.
Peacefully and patriotically.
Yes. That's the road we're on, right? Because you never want to undermine the values that we're fighting for by compromising them in an effort to reclaim them. But I'm gonna piggyback on a lot of the things Nick just said, and then we'll kind of close it out. Because I think what you're saying about, just want to return really quick because it's you vote with your voice. Well, here's the thing, I really want to emphasize why I am pushing so hard for people to call these companies. Is it's very simple. If they cannot conduct business because they are demolishing the White House, they have two choices. They can either continue at great expense to themselves and the reputation of their firm and not get more business, or they can stop working on the ballroom.
Mm-hmm.
The company has a choice. They either lose their marketability and their profitability that would come with being able to get new clients because it is
and
hard.
Be sued out of existence.
And time is money, right? Even if we don't sue them, even if there's no legal action, let's assume here we cannot do legal action for whatever reason. Time is money. They need to be able to go into their inbox. They are used to going into that inbox or going to their voicemails and hearing just business inquiries. If they have 400 messages to the point where they have to go and actively delete those messages, right? They cannot, and they have to listen to every single one because it could be a client. Their time is money, guys. It is not just about what's right. It's about understanding how to hurt these companies. The same goes with Clark Construction. They need people to contact them and bid. If we take the avenues that they get for business, they have to make a decision. Is it more profitable for us to be able to work out of all of our businesses across the country or this $280 million ballroom? And the truth is that it is less profitable for them to work on the ballroom. If the companies themselves remove themselves voluntarily, it proves one thing, that they are the regime and the billionaires are less powerful than we are, because we can prove through our simple as our voice and our ability to interfere with their business. That imagine still that you see Clark. Suddenly, everyone knows that Clark is demolishing the White House. Well, suddenly businesses might be less inclined to hire Clark because they know they are wildly unpopular. It affects them. It affects them in a big way. If you look at their social media, they do not advertise that they are the ones doing this. They do not want people to know that they are the people doing these things. It is the power that we have to put them on blast and make their lives hard. Time is money, guys. and we can ruin their day because no one wants to show up to work and listen to hundreds of voicemails of them saying you're committing a crime and we're going to try and prosecute you. You're committing a crime. We're going to try and prosecute you. It fucking
People
works.
will leave work.
I promise you, go for the money. Last thing, go for the money. Black Friday, Cyber Monday are coming up. Withhold your dollars. Do not spend a dime. They're counting on you going for the cheaper prices because everything is expensive. I want to describe something to you guys about the logistics of this. They order a tremendous amount of product in preparation for Black Friday because they expect to sell a lot of product. Imagine we don't participate. If 8 million people showed up for No Kings, okay? And 8 million people don't buy anything on Cyber Monday, they have to pay to hold that shit in a warehouse. It costs them money. What you do is you go fill up your cart on Cyber Monday, you go fill up your cart on Black Friday, and you let it sit. Because then they're going to target you with paid advertisements, which cost them money. We can hit the top line. It is so simple. And they don't want people to understand the way they have built a system to extract money. They count on us to be fucking sheep, to go and buy when it's cheap. When it's not cheap, they're still selling it for a profit. They can tell you whatever the fuck they want, that they're going for a loss. They're not. Okay? I don't care. Talk to any corporate frickin' suit who's going to say, well, we're going for a loss. Well, he can go fuck himself because he knows deep down that these companies don't operate at a loss at all. In fact, the only loss they're operating at is the fact that their target is 10% more than it was last year. And they had record sales the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. So it's about shutting down the fact that they don't value us as the consumer and they expect us to just play into this system. If people don't general strike, that's fine. I think we should. I think it's our last big option. If Congress fails, that is all we have left. If Congress fails, it's a general strike or bust. But what I will say is we're not there yet, and we need to pull on every single thread. And we have a lot of power as consumers. Our money, the wealthy are only wealthy if we spend money to feed them. They're hungry, greedy bastards. Stop feeding them. Take away the spoon. Don't do it. Just don't spend. If 159 people here, if each of you pledged to yourself right now to not spend on Black Friday, on average, people probably spend a couple $100s on Black Friday. Okay? Let's tally that up. That's money. That's money. We're money. Everything you do and spend is money. Go to a co-op when you buy your groceries. Go get fresh fruits and vegetables at the farmer's market. Choose to spend money other places. And that's it. Make that pledge to yourself right now. Promise yourself right now, and me and Nick will promise you right back that we will not spend a dime on Black Friday or Cyber Monday. We will make that promise to you. And that is something that we can make that promise together. And with that, I know I went on a rant of my own, but I think we're doing the right thing, guys. I'm so proud of you for filling up that mailbox. I can't even begin to tell you how proud I am of you guys, because that matters. That matters. It really matters. Like, it might seem like you get sent to voicemail and you can't leave a message. That's fine. Because guess what? You call every day until they cannot. It should be full every day. Just add it to your list of things to do. I'm going to call McCreary, going to call Clark today. Make sure their mailbox is full. Send them an email. Make sure their inbox is full. It's that simple. And it doesn't take it costs them money and it takes nothing from you. It's about, in Ukraine, it's a war of economics, right? They take down a missile that's 10 grand with a drone that's 1,000. That's how they win the war. That's why they're winning, because they're draining the pockets of the enemy. This is a war, but it's a war that we can wage peacefully. And it's about strategically, we're playing the long game. It's about hurting the oligarchs. It's about hurting their top line and letting them know that at the end of the day, we've been letting them get away with this shit.
We've as Wajahat Ali, someone who I've interviewed with a couple times now and had on my show, as he says, is the true religion in America isn't Christianity, it's green. Or the true color in America isn't white, it is green. It is greed. It is green. It is money. It is capitalism. It is the power of money in America is the true religion of America. It is also the true.
Oh, what the fuck?
What just happened?
Chat. They are going to demolish the entire East Wing. They've changed the course here. So it is no longer partial.
Okay.
So
I'm going to respond to that real quick. Call these fucking companies, and
right now.
There better be a lawsuit. Like, I'm not a lawyer. And if the Midas Touch has money to do it, like from my voice to yours, I'm a subscriber to you, Midas Touch, and I pay for your work. Fucking use that money to sue the shit out of the White House on behalf of the American people. And it better be on behalf of the American citizenry and the American people, and not on a company, because it is about America and Americans fighting back. But you need to be advocating everywhere. If you have a voice, is advocate everywhere. Is fucking tell Midas Touch to do it. Have them pull the trigger, because they have the legal voices that we don't. They have the power to do the suit.
Guys, there's 162 of you here. Again, I'm going to ask you to make us a promise and go to the Midas Touch subscriber chat, because I'm sure a lot of you are paid subscribers. If you're not, find their email, send them an email, go into the chat and spam that chat. I want to go and look and see that all of you are asking, saying that we need you to file a lawsuit on our behalf. We will sign up. We are, as the people, as your subscribers, we are calling on you to do the right thing and immediately file this lawsuit in reaction to the destruction.
To halt the destruction of the East Wing of the White House.
Go to a judge right now.
Yeah,
they can get in front of a judge.
We should be filing suit right fucking now to prevent this from happening any further. Midas Touch, if you have the power to do this, if you have the money, as two paid subscribers to the Midas Touch on this show right now, fucking do something.
I'm giving
something
money
now.
Do something with it. Do something with it, please. Because they will tear it all down. We've already seen it happen. Every moment you are not filing a suit, they destroy another, square foot of American history. They are stealing that from the American people. They have to act. Me and Nick, if we could, we'd be fucking filing the lawsuit right now. But that's not something we can do.
I don't have the money. I'm not a lawyer. But Midas Touch, you guys are.
They're all lawyers.
You built your network with lawyers, with a heart of lawyers. Now use those skills, please. Fucking do it. Legal AF is part of Midas Touch. Legal AF, you guys better be fucking doing this, please. This is us asking you.
I'm begging you. I'm gonna beg you. I will beg them.
As subscribers, as friends of the network, as people who have supported you for a very long time and your growth, sue now. Put a lawsuit in now, a civil suit or a criminal suit, and get a restraining order to prevent these companies from doing this, because that can be done. There can be a motion put in this second to prevent that from happening. Mark Elias, if you're listening to for Democracy Docket, I've been a supporter of yours for a long time. Please do this. You are a really good lawyer. You know a lot of really good lawyers. Do something, please. Do something. This is needed. This is your moment. This is the moment that we have been asking for leaders to step up and do something. Now, leaders in the legal field, remember your professional ethics that you and oaths that you swore and you swear to still uphold, which means it is your time to uphold it now.
If I'm donating to you, if we're donating to you and you don't do something with that money now, why am I and I'm going to say this, millions of people have put you are the #1 podcast in America. You definitely make millions of dollars. Okay. There is no doubt in my mind. You have built a network, but if you've built that network on action, Ben Mycelis, you are a lawyer. You could file this yourself. You could step up, be the leader, and file this suit in the name of the American people. It could be you. It could be you, man. We need you all to step up. And if I could, if he could, but we can't. That's why we need you to step up. And we can go in circles on this. As people in this chat, 168 of you, I want to go over to that chat here as soon as we end this live, and I want to see your voices. I want to see your voices in that subscriber chat rising. I want to hear you. I want to go in their email box, just like we can flood McCreary's. We should flood the Midas box. Let them know we're willing to sign up on this lawsuit. We are all in. On top of that, double down. You go to that post I made and call everyone, email everyone, make them know, because we have to take action. Otherwise, they're going to destroy our heritage, because he's lashing out, because he knows we hate him, and he will do this petty shit that's illegal if no one stops him. Unless a federal judge says stop right now, they will work overtime to tear down the entire East Wing. Full stop. So that's all I got, Nick. I'm going to throw up a QR code really quick to Nick's publication. So it's in this top left-hand corner. Please, please, please go and subscribe to Nick at Sick of This Shit Publications. Oh
yeah, let me promote myself real quick. I'm Nick Paro. Sick of the Shit Publications is my main publication. Thank you so much, Shane, for putting that up there for me. I'm over on Sick of the Shit Pub. I'm doing a 50% off sale for your first year as either a monthly or annual subscriber. Please come support me. I'm trying to make this full time and like really, really, really build out a network. I'm also building out the Banner and Backbone Media network, which you see Shane on every Monday with me on Palin Talk. So please come support me there as well. I appreciate the network, appreciates free and paid subscribers. We're rapidly growing. The more that we can get, the better. Thank you for whoever just scanned the QR code. I saw that pop up. You're fantastic. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'm putting together right now, before we go, just a quick message on the Midas Touches subscriber chat, because I am a paid subscriber to them. I think I'm actually a founding paid subscriber to them. So they hopefully they listen when I say it. I don't remember if I am or not, but we all need to flood it. We need to flood it with, we are asking on behalf of the American people that the legal minds at Midas Touch immediately file a lawsuit to halt the demolition of the East Wing of the White House. We need the legal minds of Midas Touch to stand up for their professional oaths and put out a restraining order to prevent the ongoing demolition at the East Wing of the White House. And that's all I'm going to put. And if you guys can copy, like, share it, like comment on it, blow it up, and then do it, then we'll do it again until they do. Put it on Aaron Parnas's too, because he's a lawyer also. Yeah. Like, I want these guys to use those platforms that they've built for good. So, oh shit, 7 of you have scanned the QR code. Thank you so much.
All right, I'm gonna pop over here. So it's I'm gonna plug myself, of course. So if you look up here in the top left-hand corner of the screen, there's a QR code you can scan. It's gonna take you to my Buy Me a Coffee. That's something you can do. People have asked me before if there's additional ways that they can support my work, just like Nick here. I am trying to do this full time. And it's one of those things where my paid subscribers are you've been so integral in helping me grow and do this. So the first thing you can do to support us both is go become a paid subscriber, guys. Go become a paid subscriber. It helps us do this every day. But I also have to add that if you can't become a paid subscriber, that is okay. We never want you to give when you can't, and you need to take care of your family first. I want to highlight that. What you can always do is come to our lives, restack, comment, share, be part of the conversation. And what's most important always, guys, is that you take what we talked about here today, you take it to the dinner table, you take it to your book club, you take it to work. The taboo of not talking about what's going on in our country has to stop. And you guys, the Firebrands, you are the change. You are the ones blowing up these inboxes, filling these voicemails, and I'm so proud of you. So please just keep going. Go and blow up the Midas Touch chat. We can do this. We cannot be quiet. And Nick, thank you for being here today. I know we were supposed to talk about Venezuela, but we're acting
We
in real
did for a
time
while.
here. And we got it all done. We're
Yeah.
acting in real time here. So one more time, I'm going to throw this up for Nick. Go ahead and scan that and give it another 30 seconds. Nick, thank you for being in here short notice, man.
Yeah,
I really appreciate your time.
absolutely, brother. Glad to be here. You know, I'm available to hang out and chat.
Yes.
Always love these talks.
Absolutely, man. All right, my friends. As always, make sure you check in later today. We have a Firebrand report at 2 p.m. PST, 5 p.m. EST. We're going to be going over the news of the day. And that's something I love to do for you guys as well. So I hope to see you there. And with that said, burn bright, resist, and we will see you next time.
The hearts.
Okay, the heart's going to go. Come on.
Is it going to go? Is it going to? It normally does.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Thanks, everyone in the chat, too. Thanks, Shane.